Hey guys, in this video we're going to be taking a look at the Wing Z-84. It's a very small flying wing. It's about 33 inches in wingspan. Let's get everything out of the box and then we can start the build. So it looks like everything is in these little bubble wrapped pieces and should be well protected. Got a bag here, looks like a motor mount, got some control rods, and got some stickers for the wing. Actually, this is one spar, looks like it's fiberglass. Okay, so here's everything that was in the box, and I got everything out of the packaging. You get your two wing halves there, you get a center pod section, and a cover for the battery compartment. This is the top part of the motor mount, and here's the motor mount here like this. It just goes in the back, and the control rods. You get a couple of control horns and clips, and they give you 4 screws for the motor mount, and this little clip here, I think that's for the canopy, to hold the canopy down with the spar. Yeah, they give you some Velcro here for the battery. Then you need a couple of these winglets. Now there's no instructions in the box, and there's no like glue to put together. So I'm probably just going to use like goop or something like that, maybe some CA. So I'll point that out as I build it. So let's get started. Okay, so there's actually not a whole lot to this build. Should be pretty easy. I'm gonna glue one wing to the center pod first. Have that set, and then I'm gonna stick the spar in, and then glue that in, and then I'm gonna glue in the other wing like this on the other side, and then let that set. And then once I'm done with that, just need to put on the little winglets here on top, and set up the inside the electronics. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll glue this first part and then get going with the rest of it. Okay, so I got the wings attached to the center pod, and I'm using a little bit of packing tape here on the seams just to hold things together while things are drying. I'm going to leave it on there anyway, just to give it some extra strength. Got the spar in over here, and spar in on both of the wings over here on the bottom, and also again a little bit of packing tape here on the seams just to give it a little bit of extra strength. Next I'm going to put on the little winglets and then the motor mount. Okay guys, so I'm about to put my motor mount and motor into the back of the plane, and ran into a little bit of an issue. It has to do with this particular motor that I'm using. It's just a generic 2204 2300 kV mini quad motor, and this is obviously an airplane, and they designed this mount for airplanes with a bell with a shaft that will require one of those prop adapters, so the length of the overall motor is going to stick out more. So what ends up happening is if you use this motor mount with these little tabs here on the side, I don't know if you can see that, there's there and there, there's corresponding little holes here in the foam, and it's supposed to go in like so. And if you do that, you can see here that the prop is going to hit the foam here because it's too short. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to actually, instead of using the hole that's here, I'm just going to move this back further into this little space here. Make sure that the tab is still in the same spot. So you have this alignment because there's a little bit of a down thrust in the mount here. So you want to maintain that. And that way it'll give me enough clearance here at the back so that the prop doesn't hit the foam on the plane. So that's all I'm going to do. Let's go ahead and I'll glue this in, and then there's a little top piece here I'm just going to stick that on as well, and I'll show you that when I'm done putting that in. I already soldered on my ESC. This is a generic 20 amp ESC, and I have a little JST connector in here, and nothing special about that. So let's go ahead and put the finish putting the motor in, and then I'll show you what's going on with that. Okay, so here's the motor mounted and glued in. So it looks like it's actually pretty easy to do. It doesn't take that long. Just wait for the glue to dry. Next, I'm going to put in the 2 servos in the bottom. So there's one here and there. And I'm just going to be using some Emax. These are some Metal Gear servos. And they'll fit right in there. And then you just run the little wire, servo wire, through this channel here. And it goes into this small hole in the on top of the spar. And let's go inside under the spar here into our pod area. So I'll go ahead and glue those in, and then I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so I got the servo glued in and the servo wire routed into the center pod. Just got to put the little servo horns on here and the control rods like this. And these little servo horns come with tabs that go on the other end, so they just poke right through like so, and then you use these little holders on the other side to keep them in place. I'll probably put a little bit of glue there just to give it a little extra strength, and then once you get that servo horn in, you can then put your control rod on here. Okay guys, I got the control rod in and the servo horns, or the control horns, connected onto the elevon. There's a little, this part here of the control rod is a screw in, so you just twist it to adjust the length of the whole rod here, and just make sure your servo is centered. And I just have a little bit of up reflex on the elevon here. You can see that I have them both the same. It's typical for these wings to have a little bit of that. That usually prevents it from diving into the ground when you first take off. This part's done. Now it's got to go into the center pod area here. I got to get my receiver, bind that up, connect up my servos and my ESC, and do some testing. So I'll be right back with that. Okay guys, I got my receiver in here. I'm using the FSIA-10B. This is total overkill for this little wing. It's a 10-channel receiver. But I'm not using this for anything right now in any of my mini quads. It's too big for my mini quad, so I'm just going to use it for this plane. And obviously it's just 3 channels I'm using here: throttle and the 2 servos for the elevons, and throttle on the Fly Sky is going to be on channel 3, and the 2 elevons are on 1 and 2. And I have it bound to my FSI-6X. It's already working. Let me just demonstrate the elevons are working here. And there's the throttle. So I already checked the direction of the motor, and I already know that the direction is correct. This is why I soldered the wires instead of using bullet connectors. And so I'm just going to put the prop on. I'm going to put the decals on here. I do need to put there's a little latch that goes on the bottom of the top of the pod to secure to the spar. Just got to glue that in, and I think that's about it. Then I'm just gonna have a maiden flight. I gotta also, before that, I gotta set the CG correctly. Thinking from using a 1300 or something about that size, 3S battery in the front here. If it's not enough, then I have that. There's this extra weight that I could use right here. I could stick that in the front, and I think it goes right there or somewhere about there to balance the CG correctly. You're going to be balancing it on these the little nubs here that are next to the spar, right there. That's right in front of that spar. That's where the correct CG should be. So I'm going to figure that out. Let me just finish this up, and then I'll tell you where the proper balance point is for the battery I'm going to be using. Okay guys, so I'm all done with the plane. As you can see there, I put the little weight there in the front. I just stuck it down with some double-sided foam tape, and I balanced the CG with the 1300 right about there for you, if you guys want to use that as a reference point. You could probably move the receiver around or add some more weights in the front if you want to adjust the weight around, but I put the cover on and used those little nubs in the bottom of the wing, and it balanced perfectly just like this with that extra weight in the front. So I'm all done now. I'm just going to go ahead and I got to maiden this, and I'm going to do that in a separate video. So I hope you enjoyed the build video. Hope it helps you guys out. Let me know if you guys have any questions, and stay tuned for a flight demo pretty soon. Talk to you later. Thanks a lot for watching.